oh my God, there were people here. How have I lived my life all this time without understanding anything about the struggle of what it means to be a Native person? How have I done that? This is how white people could be like, I mean, I don't know, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, it's totally fine because they don't have to think about our experience at any point in time. Hey, y'all, I'm Kimberlyn, and this is the Frolicking Truth, a soft space for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal. Here, joy meets justice. We calm our Black-ass nervous systems, we unmask, and we leave behind whatever that is trying to kill us. You're seen here, you're safe here, and you don't have to do this alone. What's up, y'all? So, in all my other podcast spaces, I have been requested to sing. Okay. So, I am just fulfilling the request. When I was little, I used to sing Whitney Houston, The Greatest Love of All. Was my favoriteest song in the whole wide world. And there was this summer where me and my cousins went to stay with my grandmother. It was 1986. That's the year that it was. Hello, somebody. And The Greatest Love of All had come out. And, at that time it was the radio, so we played the radio and child, the song came on and my grandma put me out. She was like, girl, get out of here. So I went and I stood on the picnic table in the yard and I performed I believe the children are our future. And it was phenomenal, if I must say so myself. I also performed that song in the lip sync competition at my mama's company picnic. And I think I had my cousins on stage with me there. But that one is, you can't really do too much. So you kind of just like rock side to side. So then I had to get a new thing because that wasn't compelling enough, and I hadn't yet had like the stage presence to stand flat footed. Now, also, let me pause here and be like, I can hold a note, but I am not a lead singer at all by any way, shape, or form. I can't run nothing. Okay. But I do know how to hold the note. And I actually did study music in school. I was always in choir or chorus because singing was free and we didn't have any money. And so I didn't get to learn any instruments. My brother did, though. He learned how to play the trumpet. But yeah, it was like you could sing for free. When I remember I came home with the recorder in third grade. Y'all remember the my mama said, bring that shit right back. We don't have no money for that. So anyway, singing was the thing that I did. So I can read music. I have actually been trained by some of the best music artists. My high school chorus teacher, Miss Jermaine Basil, was my teacher throughout high school, all 4 years. And Miss Basil still be singing. She had just performed at the Jazz Fest, but she was a legitimate music artist. And she used to be like, pull the tones through the top of the head, round your toes. Like, she was so awesome. Shout out to Miss Basil and all of the people from prep that used to be in chorus class. She taught chorus and piano, but that's how I learned to read music, and that's how I learned how to breathe from the diaphragm and use my voice. So anyway, I said all that to say I'm gonna be singing up in here. So just be ready. Okay, so now that I got all of that out. Lord have mercy. Welcome, y'all. Come on in here. Sit down. Get comfortable, honey. Take a load off. Pull up. We in here. I am grateful to have you here for episode 11 of the Frolicking Truth podcast for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal, where joy meets justice and nervous systems get free. And let me just say, it's all right if you don't identify with any of those descriptors. We have all sorts of people in here. I just ask that when you come up in here that you come ready to listen, ready to learn, ready to support. This is a protect Black women are brilliant type of space. So So if you own that, we own that. Before I start the things, let me do some announcements. First of all, hey to the new people that's following me. I want y'all to talk to me. So talk to me in the comments and things because we've gotten a lot of new subscribers. It lets me know that people are resonating with what I'm saying and that the people that I'm looking for are finding me because I'm not talking to everybody. You know what I mean? So I am excited for those of you who have found this universe and found yourself here. And I want to know more about you. So please do comment. First time listener, what's up? Long time listener, first time commenter, whatever that looks like, because that lets me know that I'm coming across, right? Now, the other thing that I do know is some of y'all lurking, and that it's all right. Thank you for the support, the watch hours. Somebody disliked one of my videos the other day, and I was like, they're on the way. They're coming. So anyway, I just need the love to be that much louder because the people be mad. Okay, the people be mad. Let's just say that because we talking the truth over here and not everybody don't like to talk about the truth. So anyway, having said that, guess what I need you to do? Like the video. Go ahead and like it. And this is something we got to get in the habit. Like when we come into the video, you just come in, like it's just an immediate thing that you do. You don't even wait to hear what's up because it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna talk about something, we're gonna laugh a little bit, we're gonna learn something. Then I need you to comment, right? Comment about things that are resonating with you. I have a couple comments that I'm going to highlight today. My people in there writing think pieces, okay? That's how we do over here. But also, even if you don't have a think piece, you can always just drop some sunflowers in the comments. And that just means, girl, yes, I hear you, okay? Tea, all the things. Also, I need to enlist some young people because I need to understand the lingo, but also I don't want to be cringe. And I feel like I might be on the border of cringe. So I ain't trying to appropriate y'all stuff. You feel me? So I need a tutorial because what is the things? I don't want to be disconnected. So it's like I kind of need to be one step behind, because I realize I'm in auntie land. So I'm trying to balance that. So young people, help me, please. Okay, holler at your girl. Okay, I can use some assistance. Hey y'all, hey, in the comments, I'm excited you're here. I'm excited for the time that we are going to have today. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the auntie check-in. There's a lot of things that have been happening in the background of life. So just for a reminder, the auntie check-in is where I kind of give updates about my life. I talk about the things that are happening, something I might have learned or unlearned this week, but stuff that's really, centered on my actual life. And this is your little snippet, okay? Because my life is happening over in the Patreon. I actually, my inner circle, I got some things that I need to edit because editing is not my ministry, my Lord Jesus, okay? But I recorded a vlog the other day because I had gone to the market. And I guess I'll start there with my things. I had gone to the market the other day. Y'all want tea? Let me give y'all tea. Let me stop laughing so it don't feel sinister because I don't mean it to feel sinister, but also it's funny. So I don't know if you all have ever seen The Queen's Gambit. It is a series on Netflix, and it's about this white girl that was playing chess. So anyway, I like chess and I watched the trailer and it felt compelling. I was like, let me check it out and see. It is one of my favorite series, and it's a series that describes me, I feel like. So this is about to be side quest after side quest, but follow me, strap in. Story time. So anyway, the Queen's Gambit follows her life, and she is a person who captures many people's attention. Okay, especially men. However, the men they don't align when their paths are crossing, but they continue to keep uh friendly and friendship. Like they hold on to the friendship, if let's just put it that way. So anyway, she had all these dudes across the country that she had a relationship with, or they had some type of interaction with, and they loved her down. So they would show up in different capacities when they were needed. That is how I feel like my life is. I feel like I have this network of gentlemen that love and care about me, and they want me to be okay. So then they'll be like, how can I help? Or this is what I have to help. What can we do with that? So one of my ex-boyfriends, said all that to say, one of my ex-boyfriends reached out and he was like, I got $50 on it. What you need? So we went to the market and we bought some tea. So I re-upped my tea because I was literally at like my last few flowers. So usually the tea that I drink is hibiscus. It's called Flor de Jamaica. So I usually drink that tea, and it really helps female reproductive care. It's a really good tea for that. And I have been trying to figure some things out about my body. So I was like, okay, we need to like establish a baseline and like run a scientific experiment on myself, if you will. So I had started drinking Flor de Jamaica, and I had like my last couple flowers was left. So we went to the market and I re-upped on that. So I have plenty of Flor de Jamaica. I also got calendula, which is marigold. I got lavender. What else did I get? Oh, they gave me like this dry fruit blend that I haven't used yet, but I can. I got some chia seeds. I got some seasonings. I got some honey. I got some coconut oil. Because remember, I told y'all I'm in the lab, right? I'm finna be in the lab. So when I'm looking over here, I got my shelf over here with my teas and my drops. So I have like some chamomile drops that I can add into a tea or add into a smoothie. So my setup is over there. And I was able to re-up that, and it just felt so great because I've been telling y'all about my routines and how I am really focusing on my routines, and how my routines are very much an anchor to my life, and it is the grounding force for me. So I've been really trying to get back to my routines, because what happened is life was life and shit was popping, and when that happens I have to scale back, right? So it goes from like, I can't burn a full stick of incense. I can only burn it for 5 minutes, and then I just got to be happy about that and just be in that moment for them 5 minutes. So I have really been like getting down to the skeleton routine, and when my routine is not intact, it throws me off and I'm just not all right. So gratefully I have been able to kind of reestablish some of that stuff. So having said that, the other thing is, I told y'all last week I had a confession. I told y'all I had got a package from Amazon, and it arrived the other day. So in that package was incense, essential oils, and some hair products. So I burn incense every day, all day. Like, and so that's one of the things that's on my list is I really want to learn how to make incense, because I use too much incense to have to be buying incense from somebody somewhere. So that's one of the projects that I have, is learning how to make incense. And then actually I was talking to Bianca and Kalanda, because they over in Peru, was telling me the other day that they found some incense that looked like it was hand rolled. I'm on that. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that and what are the things that I need to get. And luckily at the market they have all of this stuff. Like they have the different herbs and spices and all the things that you would use for that. So I'm excited about getting into that. Anyway, I got the incense. Then I got my essential oils. Y'all, I am a diffuser girl. Okay. I love to have a nice diffuser blend, lightly scenting and aromatherapy. Like I'm on all of that. I had not done that in a really long time. Like my essential oils ran out a long time ago, months ago. So I was able to get some more essential oils. So I immediately, right now, I have not lavender, I have eucalyptus and peppermint. So that is the blend that I use. So then I was able to use that when I was taking a shower. I was able to use it when I was going to sleep. Like, oh my God, it feels so good to be able to do my routine. Yo, life has been difficult. Uh, shout out to the chat. I just DM'd you something on how to make incense. Let me tell you something. Let me show that on the screen. Cause cause listen, God is good. You have not because you haven't said it out loud. Amen. I'm so excited. Okay, so anyway, thank you. Thank you for that. So yeah, so I have my incense and I had my diffuser on last night. I had my diffuser on while I was in the shower. And the shower already for me, I want like a spa experience. So in my series of Minding My Black Ass Business, the podcast, like the actual like podcast part of this, what I'm doing is I didn't know what was happening at the time, but I'm recording events up to the point where I had the mental health crisis. One of those episodes, I was talking about my shower routine. And I was talking about how my shower routine had helped me be really grounded because I live with OCD. Bathrooms are incredibly difficult for me. And having a shower routine and it being a having my shower routine feel like a luxurious experience is something that again helps me to be grounded in a situation that I would otherwise be extremely anxious because bathrooms when I they are tough. They are really, really, really tough for me. So it takes me a very long time to get acclimated and get it how I need it and want it. So I'm the type of chick, I got eucalyptus hanging in the shower. I've got, the bath products. I have the diffuser going. I got the incense going. Like that's what my preferable shower routine looks like. And it had not looked like that for a long time. But guess what? Your girl is back. Your girl is back. I have everything for my shower routine now except for the eucalyptus. Because interestingly enough, when I had went to the market, they had fruits and vegetables and food, but wasn't nobody selling no plants. So I have to find out where the like flower market is so that I can get some eucalyptus and so I'll be able to have that in the shower and then my shower routine will be complete. Okay. Now, the other thing is, I think I told y'all I use this playlist for when I'm getting ready. So I'm using the playlist, but now I have more steps because I have my things back for the shower. So I got to readjust my, my cadence, if you will, with my morning playlist. So anyway, I was talking about the market, I was talking about tea, and I was saying all that. So I wanted to tell y'all what tea that I'm drinking today. So today's tea is lavender, chamomile, and honey. And so I got some news about asylum yesterday that I'm not gonna get into here, but basically I was like, I need to just be for a minute because this is a lot. So Chef Ratatouille suggested that I make a lavender and chamomile tea. So good. It is so good. Then he told me that I can do like a lavender lemonade. So that's the next thing that I'm on, right? Because I'm in the lab. Okay. And me being in the lab means that I'm in the lab in all sorts of things, right? I'm cooking, I'm putting together things like I'm over here concocting shit. So, anyway, today's tea is lavender, chamomile, and honey. It is a calming tea. It also, lavender kind of has, you know, how mint has that refreshing, situation. Lavender also has that. So, it is really good. So, I'm just waiting on it to cool off so that I can actually drink it. And usually, what I do is I put my infused coconut oil into my tea. I have to make some more, which is why I had to go buy some more. So I usually put a teaspoonful of coconut oil into my tea, and then that gives me the medicinal benefits. And it's just great. It's an easy way to be able to get my medicine for the day, if you will. So, anyway, so I did that. Okay. Then y'all, I need to figure out what I'm doing with my hair, real talk, real life. Because what is the goal here? Like, is the goal to have hair down my back? Is the goal to have to double the amount of hair products that I use? Like, what is the goal? Like, so I have hair wax that I just haven't had a chance to put back in so I can like make it, different colors. I have blue and I have purple and I have gold. And I plan on doing that at some point when I get a minute. But I I'm finna cut it off is what I feel like I want to do. But then I don't know what the goal is. I got to figure this out. I love my curls. Let me say that. I love my curls. I feel like I let them do what they doing, and that's just that. But come join the lock crew. See, my thing with locks is I want to be able to do other things. And also, again, what is the goal? Cause am I growing these locks down my back? Like, what is like? I don't know. I really got to think. I really got to figure it out. I'm really inclined to cut it off, though. To be honest, I said when I turn 50 that I'm gonna shave my head bald because I've never seen myself bald. Um, so we might expedite that. I don't know. But anyways, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my hair. But also, I'm excited because I'm about to start making and concocting like different hair products. So I will be able to see what my hair responds well to and, create my own blend. Which brings me to something else. I want to tell y'all about this stuff. Also, though I don't want to gatekeep, but I gotta gatekeep a little bit. So these things that I'm doing, like when I'm making these concoctions and when I'm in the lab and all that kind of stuff, that's gonna be in the Patreon. If you're saying to yourself, this sounds really interesting, I want to be a part of that, it is $5 a month. And what I plan on doing is showing y'all what I'm doing because I want to teach you how to do this. I'm not trying to get in the business of selling products. Okay. This ain't trying to get into distribution and all of that. That is not what I'm here for. Y'all, I know this feels random, but also welcome. I was crying down the other day. I actually was recording a video for the vlog, and I was saying to myself, I was thinking about our 20 somethings, and around me, there are quite a few young women who are from about 24, actually from about 20 to about 28, 29, 30 or so. And I take that responsibility very seriously of being in relationship with these women because I really want to make sure that I am depositing the information that's in my brain somewhere. I do not have children, so I got to leave it somewhere. It's why I record a lot of my life. It's why I write curriculums and all these things because I need to get this stuff out. I don't believe in stuff dying with me. I've never been that type of person. So anytime, even when I've gone and set up systems and like all that kind of stuff, here's your stuff so you can be successful. I want you to have all of your things. I don't want to ever be the keeper of your things, and where if something happens and now you can't get what you need, here are your things. So when I leave a relationship, like where in any of that, like in any capacity, here are all the things that I had access to that you will need to be successful moving forward. Like I'm very intentional about that. So anyway, having said that, one of the things that I'm consistently thinking about is where am I depositing all of this wisdom and all of this knowledge that I have, and what does that look like and sound like? So enter these young women who God has sent into my life from various places in various ways. So anyway, I was taking a shower, and the shower is where God talks to me. So I was taking a shower, and God was like showing me each of them. And like, I'm a life coach. I've also told you I'm a prophet. So I see things. So I'm like seeing their lives and seeing where the things are going, and just so honored to be a part of their journey and like all of that. Then it was a couple that I was like, I haven't talked to in a little while. I need to reach out to them, make sure they all right, because I'm here when you're ready. You might not be ready, but I'm here when you are, like, and just make sure that they know that. So anyway, I was doing all that and I was just crying, just crying, just crying, just crying. And then I said, am I about to die soon? Like, why am I out here like getting affairs in order and stuff? Like, Lord, is you finna take me up out of here? What is happening? And when I was recording a video, I was like, oh my God, maybe I'm finna go on to be with him real soon. Like, this is so interesting. But yes, but then what I had said to myself is maybe this is, I said, because, okay. So I said to myself, This feels like what my grandmother did when she was preparing to transition. And I said, I wonder if this is my grandmother's spirit, because I have not been in communion with my grandmother's spirit in a while. There was a time that when I was in Mexico that, y'all, this is really going down places I didn't expect to go, but here we are. So when I was in Mexico, the last time that I went back to Mexico City, when after my mental health crisis and after not having no money, not working, all that, having to go back to Mexico City, I had gone on a date on Christmas Day with a guy that I met on Bumble, and we're walking down the street in Coyoacan, Mexico City. There's a sushi restaurant that was playing a song that my grandmother used to always play at the house when we used to have cookouts and card parties and stuff. And it was how the song go? I miss you, miss you, miss you, miss you, miss you. And I was like, okay, ma'am, you speaking loud and clear. Like, this is a lot. So anyway, and also my trauma therapist had me channel my grandmother one time. And that was a really interesting experience because I was there, but I wasn't there. And I can remember, but it wasn't me. Like, it was a very, very, very interesting experience. So anyway, after I had my moment, I was like, Lord, is you finna take me out? I said, maybe this is my grandmother's spirit that is operating through me. And I'm gonna talk about this a little bit more in a few minutes, but there were a lot of things, a lot of recipes, if you will, that we didn't get before my grandmother transitioned because she had dementia and lost the ability to speak. And in our earlier years, well, first of all, I left home at 18. Okay. So I went back and I was dipping and dabbing, but I really wasn't with them people. And also, I told y'all before, I divorced my family when I was like 25. And I was always just gone. I was just gone. So I don't know like where the recipes are. I think the last time that we had a gathering, like a family gathering where she was able to talk in some shape or form, we were at my uncle's house. That might have been like 2015. But anyways, so I remember like 2009, 2010, 2011, something like that. My grandmother had started like going places because growing up, she wouldn't come to our things. Like, she only went to a certain people's things, but she didn't ever come to nobody else's things. It was very interesting. And it was a lot that was happening behind the scenes, and like it was a lot of dynamics, and I'm just trying to understand more of where she was coming from versus how I perceived it as an 8-year-old child standing outside the window and you ain't coming and opening the door. But very likely she probably said, I need time to myself. Don't just be dropping your kids off over here. And our parents was probably just like, well, I'm gonna just drop them off over there and see what happens. Like, so if I feel like it might have been those kind of dynamics that was going on possibly. But anyway, I said all that to say, I feel like my grandmother's spirit has been trying to communicate because the way my therapist explained it, she was like, one of the things that we have to understand when we choose to take on healing is that we heal 3 generations forward and 7 generations back. And that is a large responsibility, and it is a lot to carry. So I feel like my grandmother in different ways has reached out to me and reached out to my cousin Kalanda. I'm certain that she talks to our other cousin Casey all the time. But I feel like she is trying to like orchestrate things so that we will make sure the recipes are kept, and that our stories don't die. So I'm gonna get back to that in a little bit. So that was going on. Then the other thing I was gonna say was, in this time where I had left the US and in the time that I experienced the trauma in Pennsylvania, crossing over into leaving the US, I really kind of divorced from myself. Like, so I have, I'll use it like this in digital spaces. So there's Kimberlyn Jackson world, and then there's minding my black ass business world, professional frolicker, like all the things right over there. What happened when I experienced the traumatic events in Pennsylvania is I left Kimberlyn Jackson world altogether. And I was just like, y'all won't see me over here. And I'm talking the Instagram, the website, we're done. Like, killed that, over it. I'm gonna be over here. And I directed all my attention into minding my black ass business. Well, since then, I have been healing and really processing what's happening and all of that. And I've been wanting to reincorporate into my spaces. And that has been like so much to try to make it make sense. And y'all, God sent me a brand bestie, baby. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all can't tell me that God ain't real. You get me? Because I have specifically cried my eyeballs out praying for somebody to help me untangle all of this. And it's not even that it's tangled, I just needed to be organized and get all of the boxes and the files and the thing. Like, I just needed to be organized. And when I tell you, God sent me a brand bestie to help me and your girl, y'all just stay tuned. That's what I'm gonna say. Stay tuned, okay? Because it's things happening. It's things that are happening behind the scenes, okay? And I'm so excited because even with some of the things that we've been working on, I've already been seeing the payoff, and just I feel more supported so that I am able to create. So yeah, I wanted to tell y'all that. So I'm gonna tell y'all all the things about her and what she does and all of that. She's here in the chat with us. Shekinah at Let's Talk says, I had showed y'all a clip from me being on her podcast, which, by the way, all 3 of those episodes have been published. Let's talk for a second before I move, because listen, I need us to get information. Okay, and let me explain what formation looks like. Formation looks like tapping in to community, right? When I'm on other platforms, I need y'all to pull up. Like, I need y'all to pull up. I need y'all to be dropping sunflowers in the chat. I need y'all to pull up and be like, yo, we got her. She ain't out here by herself. Yo, what up? We in here, right? I need y'all to pull up. I need y'all to put on the calendar that we are having, if you're in the Patreon, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Central. That is when we are doing the live. I need you to pull up to the live. I need you to add your voice. I need you to talk in the chat. I need you to be in community there. If you are not a part of the Patreon, Saturdays at 11 a.m. when we premiere the episode, I need you to be in the chat for the live premiere. Pull up. Pull up. I need you to be dropping the sunflowers. I need you to be going and watching these things. So, having said that, I need y'all to roll over to Let's Talk Sis and watch my 3-part series with Shekinah over at Let's Talk Sis. It was a really, really awesome episode. Also, last night, another episode premiered from a different podcast platform that I was on called Hot Girls Healing. And I want to show y'all a clip from that. I watched the episode last night and I was like, oh, this is good. Oh, this is good, sis. You was in your bag, girl. Selena Green is the host, and Selena comes from like the nonprofit world, very much centered on community and building and coalition building and sustainability and making plans for what's finna pop off. You know, y'all know how we've been talking about that. Y'all know how we've been talking about that. Very much in that world. So then last night I was watching some additional episodes with guests. It's people out here talking about how we can insulate ourselves. I need y'all to tap in. I need y'all to plug in. I need y'all to pull up. I need you to be here. Okay. Let me know that you're here. I started to pay attention to how environments make me feel, because you can feel energy when you walk into a space. And I am known for telling people I will go home. Do you hear me? If I walk in somewhere and I feel a vibe, I'm out of there. I ain't asking no questions. Where you was at? I was here and I'm gone. Because we spend so much time in environments that make us feel uneasy or just uncomfortable, unwelcome, unwanted, and unsafe. And we train ourselves to stay in those environments, even though it is eroding something within us every single day. Hey, anybody's listening. Go home. Go to your safe place. You don't have to stay in places that don't make you feel your best. So that was a little snippet from the Hot Girls Healing podcast, again with Selena Green. So please do go over there. I will put the link into the description so that you're able to go directly to it. But again, if you type in Hot Girls Healing, Kimberlyn Jackson, it comes up. Yeah, so I said all that to say there are some podcasts that I've been on and that I will be on, and I need us to pull up. Okay, I need us to pull up. That particular episode was about alignment and thinking about how things do align or don't align, and grace when things don't align. So it was a really good episode. The other thing I want to tell y'all, I keep saying I'm gonna have people on, right? So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I gotta have people on, but this kind of needs to be like an offshoot of the Frolicking Truth, because this is me and you here. Okay, this is me and you in the community here. But also there are sometimes things that we need to go deeper talking about, and I might not have the range, you know. I got a lot of thoughts and I'm real good at what I do and what I know, and what I don't know, I don't know. So I go find somebody who does know. So I already have 2 guests that are booked for these special episodes. And this part of the series is going to be called Gathered Conversations for the Collective. So I'm really excited about this. I'm building out this space. It's going to be like a cozy space, living room conversations, talking about the things. One of my guests works in environmental justice. So we're going to be talking about that and what that means and how do we show up in that and what does that look like and sound like. I have another guest. She is going to be talking about her minimalism journey. She works on cruise ships. So she's going to be talking to us a little bit about that world and like the journey that she has taken to purge herself from things and divest from capitalism and like really just get down to 2 bags and prioritize life over things. Because sometimes things can keep us bound. I want us to know that. You know, but anyway, so yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited about this series and getting this up and going, and you know, having some other people to introduce you to that are a part of the community and safe people that are on this sunflower path that we own. All right. So I told y'all I had a couple comments I wanted to highlight. And in full transparency, like I said, girl, people in the comments, child, write thought out think pieces, and I'm here for it. I wanted to highlight Robin C5226, and we know each other from back in Tampa. And she said, oh my goodness, I don't know how one person can be better than the last time, but you sing too and stir my soul. My old hard ass self heard, in all caps, your words. I'm empathetic, as you know, but also, as you know, I'm intolerant and heavy on that. I don't F with those people. I still won't, but I can look at them different so that I don't misalign the empathy that is in me. Wow, you did all that. Every single minute to the end, award winning, trailblazing. You are the Oprah or Iyanla, etc. of these times. Better, actually. Revolutionary, inspiring, life changing, no cap. Yo, Robin, hey, thank you, girl. I appreciate it. Listen, thank you. I received those flowers. Okay. Thank you for that, Robin. And thank you for listening and such a thoughtful response. So then the other comment is from Authentically Brittany. We also know each other from back in Tampa days. She said, love this video. I've chatted with pro-capitalism people to understand their mindsets. They believe that we should essentially be self-reliant and pick yourself up by your own bootstraps. They see social services, assistance programs, etc., as an expense governments shouldn't cover. Social services programs, makes people lazy, less accountable, and decreases productivity. We as the people should figure out what to do for ourselves. They've linked their point of views to single parent households, etc., but that's another discussion. Then she left some context in the comment about Adam Smith, who is the father of capitalism and consumerism. So research to do. But then she said, why capitalism sees us as disposable is that you work, you die, someone replaces you. Going to socialism or democratic socialism does the opposite. You have to chip into the pot to help everyone. Many people in capitalistic places don't want that. I remember a coworker debating with a former boss about this. We were talking about health insurance. My former coworker said, why should I be taxed more to help someone else's need? My former boss replied, because it's human. So shout out to Brittany, authentically Brittany, for leaving such a well thought out comment. So so I want to highlight y'all's comments and bring that into the conversation. I want to get us thinking, right? That is the whole point of this, because there's a lot that's going on, and there's a lot of responsibility that we have to leave these marks for the future. So let's go ahead on and get into the truth is segment. The title of today's episode is There Were People Here. There were people here. So let me tell y'all where this came from. I told y'all I have been doing these crash courses. Okay, so there's a YouTube page called Crash Course, because I don't know about y'all, but I love a good deep dive. Okay, I love a good learning experience, and I love an opportunity to learn new things that I didn't know about. So they have all sorts of courses in here. So for instance, this is the one I'm about to talk about, Native American history, but they have women's history, political theory, religions, environmental science, biology. I started that one the other day. Public health, crash course on Black American history. I started that one too. They have an artificial intelligence one. I didn't even know that. So anyway, I was in here in the crash course, Native American histories. I'm totally bought in. Like I am full on in on this crash course and the things that they're talking about. So I mentioned earlier living in Pennsylvania, and I wanted to have like an aha moment with y'all, share a moment where I had an aha. So when I was living in Pennsylvania, I was living in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is the capital of Pennsylvania. I didn't know anything about Pennsylvania at all. I didn't know anything about Harrisburg. I had looked up the demographics. I saw that it was majority Black. That made me feel somewhat safe. When I got there, I learned that it was majority Black because everybody has moved out of the city and into the surrounding areas, which has left the actual city very much underfunded and systematically set up so that there are large amounts of Black people there that don't have access to resources. Okay, now again, Harrisburg is the capital of Pennsylvania. So that's where I was living at. So I want to show y'all a map. So I was living over here where it says Dauphin Street and Green Street. So I was living right on this corner of Dauphin Street and Green Street. And the capital was a little bit further up the street. I used to take field trips to the Broad Street Market. That's where the Amish market was, and I would be there often. What I really want to talk about is this river. Okay, so I was just living a couple blocks off of the river, off of Front Street there. So it was just like 2 blocks over. So I used to walk on the river almost every day. So when I first got there and I'm looking at the signs, there were like markers that were there. And I remember seeing the Susquehanna River. And I was like, Susquehanna? Susquehanna? That sounds like that's indigenous. And no lie, this was in 2020. In that moment, all of these random facts from history and social studies classes started flooding back to my brain. So I have been very, very transparent with you all and telling you that social studies was not my jam when I was in school. Social studies was taught to me in a way of random facts, somebody standing at the board just with a yardstick, just pointing at random countries, filling in maps. Like it just was not engaging in any way, shape, or form. So I had not retained any of that information about a lot of things that had to do with social studies, specifically history. So in that moment when I'm walking, I was like, Susquehanna, that sounds indigenous. And I said to myself, oh my God, there were people here. Like, I literally said that to myself. Because when I thought about Native Americans up to that point, or indigenous people, I always thought about them in the West, in Arizona, in New Mexico, in Oklahoma. Like, I don't know a lot about indigenous life, like any of that. In that exact moment, I said, oh my God, I have got to do better. How have I lived my life all this time without understanding anything about the struggle of what it means to be a Native person? How have I done that? This is how white people could be like, I mean, I don't know, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, it's totally fine, because they don't have to think about our experience at any point in time. So in that moment, I realized that I was that for an indigenous person. I had no understanding of their experience. I didn't think about them from day to day. I wasn't considering their perspective. There's a comment. No, I had the same epiphany a few years ago when looking into what Columbus Day was. Yeah. Like, so I became really intentional even about calling it Indigenous Peoples Day, and like taking the time to educate myself on these people's experiences. And let me tell you what happened. I got pissed the fuck off. That's what the fuck happened. There were people here, y'all. There were people here. So in this crash course, they are going through the impact of colonization and how the white people brought diseases and destruction. And they talk about sovereignty, like they're like native tribes are sovereign. And in the Constitution, they put respecting sovereign nations. Like there are clauses in that are supposed to honor the indigenous people. They talked about how the US had created all of these treaties with the indigenous people, but turns out the one I watched last night, they talked about how the US killed off all the buffalo so that the indigenous people would not have food to eat, so that they would have to come to the US in desperate need and need to do this treaty. Then they haven't honored any of the treaties. Do y'all know that Mount Rushmore is a site of deep cultural significance for indigenous people, particularly the Lakota, who consider the Black Hills, Pahasapa, sacred. The monument's construction on this land, initially promised to the Lakota in the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie, is seen by many as a symbol of broken treaties, land theft, and the ongoing struggle for indigenous rights. Those Black Hills are the most sacred area for the Lakota tribe, for the Lakota nation. And the US came and carved into their most sacred place the faces of four white racist people who had lied to them when they had made treaties and continued to infringe upon the treaty. Y'all, don't take the crash course if you're not ready to be mad, but also take the crash course because this is the kind of shit that they don't teach us in school. There's an episode in the crash course where it talks about all of the myths. They went through the casino situation because the perception is that indigenous people, because they manage the casinos, the perception is that they rolling rich and all this kind of stuff with the casinos. It's not even that. That land is their land. It's like a lease. The US is leasing that land. So that's the payment, but the payment is not even enough for them to be able to meet their basic needs. Like, there were people here. They teach us, but they teach it from a perspective where these men were victors and in the right and never painting the whole picture. They teach us about manifest destiny. They talked about how the white people colonizers came and they gave out blankets. I don't know if y'all know this, but they gave out blankets because it was cold, and the blankets had smallpox on the blankets so they could kill off the people and then say that God did this for us. God got rid of these savages so that we can have this land. This is the other thing. Indigenous people do not believe in owning land. Like, that concept for them, they are stewards of the land. They are keepers of the land. They are protectors of the land, right? So everything that an indigenous person does in their culture is about honoring the land. Here come the US with destruction, just destroying every fucking thing. What does that look like and feel like for this land that has given to you and given to your people for centuries and centuries before colonizers showed up, for thousands and thousands of years, and to watch these white people come over here and destroy this land with no regard, then tell you we gonna give you something on that, but then they don't even honor that. Like, bruh, it's wild. It is wild. What if the thing you've always called too much was the exact thing God designed on purpose? This is for the ones who've always known they were different. Too sensitive, too loud, too knowing, too intuitive, too woo-woo. But what if your sensitivity is actually your superpower? What if your intuition was your inheritance? Discover Your Destiny is a 10-week sacred journey back to yourself. We explore the design of your soul, your spiritual gifts, and the unique way that God speaks to you. This isn't church. It's not a rule book. It's not a performance. It's the moment you stop chasing approval and start walking in divine alignment. You'll gain clarity, language, and confidence around who you are and what you are here on the earth to do. You'll learn the real voice of God. And if you feel called to go on to become a certified intuitive melanated life coach, this is where that path begins. There are 2 ways to enter this sacred container: the Destiny track, full investments and coaching experience, or the Divine Exchange track, where internship meets soul work. You'll support podcasting, content creation, or brand development behind the scenes while learning how your unique gifts benefit the collective. Your knowing isn't a flaw. It's the fingerprint of God. This is your invitation, and I hope that you'll answer. So, in 2019, my cousin had, inspired by my grandmother, this family reunion gathering, if you will. At this gathering, my great aunt was there. And my great aunt is the last one living from my grandmother and her siblings. It was 4 of them, and my great aunt is the last one that's living. So my cousin, my great aunt's daughter, she's been working on genealogy for a while, I feel like. And so she had like a family tree up, and my great aunt was talking about our family. And we learned at that gathering that my great great grandmother was Indigenous. And which is so interesting because I'm from New Orleans and we could be anything at any point. When I was in the classroom, my students would always be like, "Miss, what you mix with? What you mix with, Miss? Cause your hair, cause your nose, what you mix with, Miss?" And I just used to be like, "Girl, I'm black. I'm black mixed with black. Black and some more black. My mama black, my daddy black, black and black. Okay, black mixed with black." I literally have a sweatshirt that says that. Come to find out, there is Indigenous blood. We also found out that our great great grandfather was white. I don't know what kind of white, what flavor of white, but he was white, and our great great grandmother was Indigenous. So I have reached out to my cousin. I want to know more about this because our family, they don't be talking about stuff. And like I said, the recipes is gone, like they don't be talking about stuff. So we don't know a lot about our history. We don't know a lot about where we came from. We don't even know who our daddies are. Okay. It's like half the time. So it's just a lot that's going on. And I have actively been trying to understand like where I come from and like what this looks like and sounds like. So what I had did is I skipped over all of this. I was like, you know what? Let me go do African ancestry. At least I know that, because y'all ain't talking about shit and I don't know nothing about nothing, and ain't nobody saying, I don't like, because I mentioned my great great grandmother, but I don't know her name. So I went and did African ancestry. Let me say the way that it works first. So African ancestry, whoever takes the test for the whole maternal bloodline. So for instance, my cousin Kalanda, I mentioned my cousin Casey, my mama, my aunts, my cousin that I mentioned that's been doing genealogy, like all of us on our maternal line, I am able to share what that ancestry is because it's the same line. The paternal line is a little different. So like I would have to have a male relative of my biological father would have to take the test. So one of my uncles on my father's side, or if I have male cousins, I don't really know them, so I don't know. But that would be how I would get the paternal side. So that's a work in progress. But over here on this maternal side, I did the work for the family to be able to understand more about who we are. So I wanted to show y'all my certificate or whatever. And this certificate again represents for our entire maternal line. So our family comes from the Tikar, Hausa, and Fulani people living in Cameroon. This is the west coast of Africa. This is where many of our people that were sold into slavery came from. So Cameroon is right here next to Nigeria, as well as Equatorial Guinea, Republic of the Congo, Central African Republic. The people in Cameroon speak French. I know that. So they were colonized by the French. I have heard that the government has also been destabilized. So I don't know. Again, I have to do research about that. But it was really cool to discover that my people come from there, right? So now I have this understanding of, okay, we know we had indigenous blood, our people come from Cameroon. So like, how do we bridge that gap to know more about that? So now this understanding of why I feel so called to indigenous practices and feeling called back to the land and feeling called back to culture, it is very much because it is in my blood. My grandmother was a farmer, and I didn't really know that actively until I was talking to my cousin Kalanda, and she was like, yeah, remember she used to grow this and she used to grow that. And yeah, but she also didn't like actively teach us and like keep the recipes, you know? So I am thinking about how I want to honor all of this because we are the wisdom keepers and we have to keep these stories alive, because if we don't keep our stories alive, what the white people do is they erase us and they say that we liked it. They say there's a quote that somebody said, and it's like, if I don't say anything, then they will kill me and say that I liked it, or they'll abuse me and say that I liked it. It's like we have to let the future know that we were here. And though I don't have any children, my cousin does. So being able to actually pick that up and carry those stories, this is personal for me. And I think there's a lot of power that you get when you do the investigation to understand your people and the stories that they hold and all of that. So that's what I wanted to kind of deposit with us today with the Truth Is segment and really make that as plain as I possibly can. I need us to, one, get educated from the sources of the people that harm may have been caused. A lot of times the stories of war are told from the people who won the war, and that is warped. What was happening with the people that were being warred upon? So going out and seeking those stories. So again, Crash Course is an amazing place for y'all to be able to do that. I do highly recommend it. I'll be over there in the things down the rabbit hole. Okay. Now, I wanted to move us into our soul work for the week. But before I do that, I wanted to ask y'all, have you ever watched Captain Planet? Have you ever watched Captain Planet? So this is the prompt for the soul work, by the way. But I want y'all to tell me if you have ever watched Captain Planet, because you might be able to relate. So the prompt is, what was the moment that you began choosing to live with care? And when did you begin honoring the earth, truth, and people? That's our soul work prompt for this week. Again, what was the moment you began choosing to live with care? When did you begin honoring the earth, truth, and people? All right. So have y'all ever watched Captain Planet? So Captain Planet was a cartoon when I was younger, and it was based on this superhero called Captain Planet. And he had him a team of young people that were out here saving the planet. Okay, so I'm gonna let you hear the theme song.
Planet, he's our hero, gonna take pollution down to zero. He's our powers magnified, and he's fighting on the planet side. Captain Planet, he's our hero, gonna take pollution to zero. Gonna help him put asunder bad guys who like to loot and plunder.
You'll pay for this,
They finna rap.
Planet.
We're the Planeteers. You can be one too. Cause saving our planet is the thing to do. Looting and polluting is not the way. Hear what Captain Planet has to say. The power is yours. Yo, this is when it got started for me. Captain Planet. Okay. So Captain Planet had 5 powers. Earth, fire, wind, water, heart. Go planet. All right. So they used to be fighting like littering and I used to love Captain Planet so much. Core memory unlocked. Okay. So they used to be fighting the bad guys who were trying to pollute the world. Okay. So they were like fighting climate change and fighting polluting the ocean and like all of it. I was sold. You hear me? Sold. But anyway, I was watching Kev on stage and they did Here's the Thing the other day. And he was talking about Captain Planet, and they were like, "How they gonna have Heart? Like Heart ain't doing nothing. Heart over in the corner crying, and Heart is not like a real power." And I was like, "Oh my God!" But it is. It is. So I think it's important for us to remember and know that we need to lead with our heart. We've got to. The community building that we're doing, the sustainability planning that we're doing, everything that we do, we have to lead with our heart. Having power over the earth and the wind and the water and the fire, having power over that without using your heart to be intentional with how you are using that is incredibly dangerous. So we have to keep our heart in it. And when I think about Indigenous people and I think about people that are connected to the land, all of that is heart work. All of that is about using love to cultivate and to build and to grow and like all of that. So I want to challenge us with that, and thinking about how we are holding people with care and how we are holding the world with care and holding the planet with care and holding animals with care and just thinking about showing up as someone who honors the heart. Okay. So that is our soul word for the week. All right. I wanted to talk to you all about something I found when I was frolicking in the feed. Okay. So frolicking in the feed is something I'm scrolling and it sets off a rabbit hole or some type of learning or somewhere that keeps me in a space of being like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I found this. There is a content creator named Shawnee the Therapist. And she is married and she has kids. And I found her, I want to say maybe on TikTok, but I also follow her on Instagram. She's very real, like and very animated with the way that she tells stories and stuff. But she also honors her real life as a person, even though her profession is a therapist. Because I don't know if y'all know this, but therapists need therapists because therapists also be living and going through shit. So she has been very transparent about what that has looked like. So what happened was maybe a month or so ago, she had made a post and she was saying that she was going to move out of her house. She said she felt like she needed to move out of her house for 30 days because she was feeling overwhelmed and she was snapping on her kids and like she just didn't feel like herself and she needed to get some time alone. So she got an apartment and she moved out of her house. And I don't know like the details of the arrangement or whatever that she had with her husband and how they co-parented or whatever, but she did make posts along the way of saying she felt like a more present parent. She felt like she was showing up as the full version of herself. The other day she made a post and she said, I'm married with 2 kids and reflecting on moving out of my house for 30 days. And this is what I learned. I no longer want to own a home. I realized living in an apartment and access to amenities like a pool, gym, the ability to clean my entire apartment in 1 hour has been freeing. No financial stress over house projects, fixing things that break. I no longer want to live in the suburbs and prefer a diverse city life where I constantly see Black people. Living alone has made me a better mom because I have full days to myself to take care of me. I show up more present. I've been enabling people to not give me what I need. I lacked boundaries around my self-care when living at home, like allowing my kids to just enter the bathroom when they need me. So I had come across that. And like I said, I follow her. So I had kind of seen this unfold. But in her post, she was saying that she was terrified to go home. She was like, I'm terrified to go home because basically I found this peace, here. And now I have to go home and figure out what that looks like and sounds like. And it really made me think about how many of us are in positions where we're sacrificing ourselves in order to accommodate somebody else or make somebody else feel comfortable, to the detriment of ourselves. I had mentioned earlier when I said that I'm a horrible godmother, or that I've been told that I'm a horrible godmother by people that have fired me from being a godmother. But it was because they expected me to sacrifice myself for them in ways that did not honor myself, in ways that did not honor me. So they wanted me to give up it all in order to be at their beck and call for whenever they needed me to be there. And one, my life wasn't set up for that. But two, no, I'm not doing that. The other thing that I see is a lot of my friends and people that are around me in their 40s now have 20-something-year-old kids, adult children, and they are struggling with figuring out how to now prioritize themselves. There are also some of us who still having kids. So again, figuring out how to prioritize yourself. I was so proud of Shawnee for doing what she needed to do for herself, because many of us don't do that. And it comes at our detriment because we wind up having some type of mental health crisis. We wind up in a situation where, again, we're snapping at our kids. We're being mean to people because we're overstimulated. We haven't had time to learn ourselves. We're just doing the most. We haven't allowed ourselves to feel our feelings. Like, we just holding everything in. Then you got to go to these people's job. They own some fuck shit. Like, it's a lot. And I feel like what we need to have happen right now is that, especially for those of you that have kids, that you tap in the auntie network, especially those of us as aunties who are on our healing journeys and out here like learning and knowing how to show up for ourselves more. I do think it is time for you to allow us to help support you in the mothering of your adult children, so that we can equip them with these strategies sooner, so that they don't have to get to our age and be trying to figure out how to function and to be like, I have to move out of my house and I can't do this anymore because I'm getting lost in it all. I think that it's really time for us. I keep mentioning community and like holding hands and being there for each other. It really is time for us to tap into our network, because you don't have to do this alone. Like, we are here and willing to be able to support. So bring us into the fold and allow us to do that. And I realized for me in that video I told y'all about when I had started crying, when I was like, I'm about to die soon. The thing that had landed on me really heavily is my calling was not to mother from 0 to 18. That wasn't my calling to do. My calling is to do the continuous mothering that happens after that point. Because just because we are adults doesn't mean that we stop needing mothering. So my mothering happens in this phase of life, right? So I'm not a horrible godparent. I am the godparent that taps in during this time, because we need people along the way. I wanted to deposit that because I don't know, the demographics of you all that are listening, as far as whether you have kids or where you are in burnout and how you're honoring yourself or whatever. But I hope that you will hear me in saying that you have to honor yourself, because if you don't, it leads to complete burnout and brain shutdown. And when I tell you, it is like hell fighting to get out of that. Somebody had asked me the other day if I would be willing to go through the burnout experience again, like in hindsight, hindsight 2020, if I would do it again. And I can say that I would, but only for the sake of knowing that I'm helping people not have to go through that. That is the assignment that I carry in that, is knowing I experienced that so you don't have to. So don't be a hard head, make a soft ass type of person. Be someone who can learn from the mistakes of those who have gone before you. Be someone who can learn from ancestral wisdom that you don't have to find out the hard way, because many hands make light work. So if we will hold hands and work together, then the work will be a little bit lighter, especially when you need to care for yourself. So with these last few minutes, the last thing I want to do is talk about what's going on in Mexico City, y'all. So this is our Pack Your Bags segment. So as you all know, I live outside the U.S. I've been outside the U.S. since 2021. I also help people to leave the U.S. When I first left the U.S., I landed in Playa del Carmen. I was only there for a couple months because it's hot as fuck in Playa del Carmen. Like, it is hot as hell there. And I exist on like a second shift type of person. You know, I told you I wake up, I get started working at like 11. You know, my brain people really be up and popping about 1. But I'm not a person who does early morning things, nor do I do late night things. Well, in Playa del Carmen, you can't go outside between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. because it's hot as hell. You will literally melt, like melt. Okay. So I didn't like that. So I left Playa del Carmen and I moved to Mexico City, and I lived in Mexico City for about 18 months collectively, back and forth. And then I would stay there for about 6 months at a time. So Mexico City is near and dear to my heart. It is a place that I love a lot. There was so much culture there. There was a lot that I learned while I was in Mexico City. So what has been happening when I moved to Mexico City, the rent for a 2-bed, 1-bath apartment was approximately like $1,250 US, which is about twice as much as it costs in Colombia. But that was about the cost that I was paying for rent. Since then, the rent has doubled and in some places tripled. So there have been a lot of protests that have been happening in Mexico City about gentrification and the way that people are coming and colonizing Mexico City. So if you have followed me for any amount of time, you know that I'm about ethical immigration. I'm really about thinking about humanity and like how people are impacted, especially understanding that I have privilege as someone who is from the US. So I'm very careful about how I move and where I purchase things from. And that's why I was so happy to get to the market, because I'm purchasing directly from someone who is a Colombian as opposed to supporting big business and like all of that. So in Mexico City, they have seen gentrification in certain neighborhoods. And just for context, gentrification is the process where the character of a quote unquote poor urban area is changed by the presence of wealthy people moving in. And a byproduct of that is they all of a sudden wind up improving housing and attracting new businesses. But the prices also skyrocket and it displaces the current inhabitants in that area. So that's happened. I'm sure you all may have seen it in your cities. I'm from New Orleans. I've definitely seen it, and it's a lot. So anyway, I wanted to show you all this video.
These protesters in Mexico City say cross-border migration is changing their country's capital for the worse. Over the last decade, an influx of mostly American so-called digital nomads have moved here to work remotely and also enjoy a cheaper cost of living. Protesters say the newcomers have driven up rents beyond the reach of locals.
If they're going to live in a country, they have to contribute to that country. The first and simplest issue is legal migration. They come here with visas or no visas, and still the change in purchasing power generates these problems of gentrification and displacement.
I'm here because gentrification is just one more step towards colonization, dispossession, and the exploitation of our resources. Right now it's about the people, but it won't be long before they run out of oil, water, or lithium in other countries and come and take them from us.
Many Americans in Mexico are able to still receive high salaries in dollars from U.S. companies by working on laptops from their apartments.
The government is directing its public policies towards people with higher purchasing power, often illegally displacing local populations who have lived in these neighborhoods for 40, 50, and we have even documented cases of up to 60 years. In 5 years, rents have increased by 47%. This is violent for the local population. We are debating whether to pay for electricity, water, or food. Of course, we choose to eat.
Some activists blame Mexico's government for encouraging them. However, there's no simple fix. Imposing tougher visa restrictions on Americans could worsen relations with the U.S. Mexican citizens in the U.S. also send billions of dollars in remittances back to their families in Mexico. In a world where travel and communication are faster and easier than ever, these two nations are finding it harder to have neighborly relations. Wilson Dysart, Al Jazeera.
I wanted to bring this up because I think it is very, very, very important for us, those of us who are choosing to leave the U.S., those of us who operate as digital nomads or expats, to understand that we are immigrants. And we are immigrants in somebody else's country. And because we have this blue passport from the U.S., that gives us certain privileges. And we have to be very responsible about how we are using those privileges. Are we using those privileges to amplify and support what is happening with local people? Or are we using those privileges to come in and build little Atlantas in different cities? So I wanted to just give us a few things in thinking about how we can ethically immigrate as opposed to coming in with this colonizing, entitled type of way of living and existing that is causing harm to others. One thing that capitalism does a great job at is making people who have been historically oppressed feel like when they get privilege that they have the right to oppress others. And that is not the responsible use of our privilege. And I need us to be really intentional about that. So the first thing is choosing rent stabilized or community housing is something that will help, because what happens is Airbnb owners or private apartment owners, they might rent the apartment for 2 or 3 times what they would charge to a local. So they winning and we have access. So we're able to pay it without thinking. And what it does is it upsets the market because local people will never be able to afford that. And if you're in a space where all of the apartments are turning into Airbnbs, then nobody can access it. So being intentional about that. Another thing for me is I might start on Airbnb, but I usually do try to negotiate with them off of Airbnb because 1, I don't want to upset the market. 2, there has to be, like, we have to level it out some type of way. Now, I also recognize that some of this is systemic, right? So there are governmental things that need to happen, but these are the individual actions that we're able to take. The next one is probably the most important. I would say learn the freaking language. Learn the freaking language. Do not go to somebody else's country where they speak a different language thinking that they're supposed to cater to you and your English speaking self. Learn the language. Learn the accent. Learn how to communicate effectively and honor their language. Right. And on your way to learning, use Google Translate, but learn the language, get on Duolingo. And, also, I just crossed a 900-day streak the other day on Duolingo. Estoy hablando español todos los días. Yo practico todos los días. Okay, I be talking that Spanish. All right. So learn the language. It is something that is going to go a long way. And it also opens you up to community and allows you to be able to actually meet people that are there. So to the next thing is be in community, right? Support local grassroots movements. Think about going to the market as opposed to going to the grocery store, like going to actually support the local restaurants and supporting what they have going on at the local restaurants and the local bakeries, so that you are able to ensure that your money is going to support actual people, and hire locals for service, right? If you need a housekeeper, if you need a driver, if you need anything, talk to local people, get in community with the local people, so that you are able to understand how they live and who they are and the customs that they have and the ways that they show up. Okay, so those are just a couple things that we can do. Community care abroad really looks like listening and being present, right? Don't be bringing that colonizing energy. Don't be walking up in there thinking, why they don't take the dollar? Because this is not the U.S. Why they don't speak English? Because this is not the U.S. Do y'all know that the U.S. did not, up until Trump, have an official language? The U.S. was supposed to be the place of immigrants where everybody was able to speak their own language. Now they own this whole speak the English, but take that same energy when you go to somebody else's country and speak their language. If they speak Spanish, learn Spanish. If they speak French, learn French. If they speak Portuguese, learn Portuguese. And if you real fancy, tap into the indigenous languages and the indigenous culture, because the French, the Spanish, all of that's from colonization, just in case y'all didn't know that either. The English, the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, the Dutch, all of that is from colonization. That was not the original languages that was spoken in those places. Okay, just in case you didn't know. Necesitamos practicar español juntos. Okay, sí, porfa. Very good. Yes, see, we bilingual over here. Bilingual, trilingual, we linguistics up in this piece, okay? So that is all I have for y'all today. I want to remind you again, if you are looking for community and really wanting to be able to be here during the live recording, you want to get in on these different classes and things that I'm gonna be doing about how to make these products and all of that is happening in the Patreon. So to join the inner circle, you are going to go to patreon.com/mindingmyblack-ass-business. Patreon.com/mindingmyblack-ass-business. It is $5 a month. Get 7 days free in there, and you can see what we're doing, what we're talking about. I'm gonna get y'all these vlogs and things that I need to edit, just so you know. Don't be looking at me side eye. Also, send me an editor. Send me somebody that can help me, please. Okay. Also want to remind you all that Discover Your Destiny is coming out. So it's on August 10th for the group classes. I have a couple folks that I'm doing one-on-ones with. So I'm excited about that and going through that process. But if you go to dyd25.com, you can learn more about Discover Your Destiny. You saw the commercial during this time. So please do attend yourself accordingly. I also want to shout out to Tiara. She purchased a copy of Discover Your Destiny the other day. So she is doing the self-paced portion. So you're able to do that as well. You have access to the workbook and you can do it at your own pace. It doesn't have to be the intensive 10-week course. So y'all are also able to tap into that. It's only $47. And again, you can find that at dyd25.com. Y'all connect with me on places. All right, come holler at me. I be on Instagram, also not, but I be there, but sometimes not. But like, come holler at me over there. We figuring out, me and my brand bestie, we figuring out what that's gonna look like. So Kimberlyn J over on Instagram, Minding My Black Ass Business, Minding My Black Ass Business on TikTok, Minding My Black Ass Business here on YouTube, KimberlynJackson.com. Those are all the places that you are able to find me. Patreon.com/Minding My Black Ass Business. All the things. All right, okay. Today's closing quote is by James Baldwin. History is not the past, it is the present. We carry our history with us. We are our history. So I want us to remember that we're not just remembering, we're returning. We're returning to the truth. We're returning to the land. We're returning to each other. We're returning to community. So we really want to make sure that we walk forward with our eyes open, with our hearts soft, with our spirits ready, with our hands ready to build something better, because we are history. We are writing history every single day, and we're the ones who are shaping what comes next. So I charge us to take that with the level of responsibility that it comes with, because one day somebody is going to look back and say, this is what they did. We're talking to ourselves in the present, but we're also talking to the future. So I want us to carry that with us. All right. If you hear, tell me something that you got out of this time together in the chat. If you are watching the replay, watching the premiere, talk to me in the chat, in the comments. Please do leave a comment, especially those of you who are watching the replay, for a moment that stuck out to you so that I know what to go back and clip. That is our community project. And we don't have the Healing Circle this week, but you can register for the Healing Circle. So if you go to tinyurl.com/Black Women Healing Circle, you'll be able to register for the Healing Circle so you can also join us there. All right. That's it. That's all, y'all. I love y'all so much. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank y'all for being here. Bye. Thank you for listening to The Frolicking Truth, where joy meets justice and our nervous systems get free. Please be sure to like, rate, and comment. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Minding My Black Ass Business, and follow me on all social platforms. Until next time.